Welcome to another video from gardeningwithjason.com. Today we are planting elephant garlic. I managed to get hold of some, and you can see here one of the cloves. I mean, that's a big clove. It's several times larger than a normal garlic clove. Now elephant garlic is a much milder form of garlic. It's more closely related to leeks than it is to actual garlic. And for those of us that find garlic a bit overpowering, elephant garlic is absolutely ideal. The flavour is much more mild, and obviously it grows in exactly the same way as normal garlic. Now, it prefers well-drained soil. Like garlic, it does not like competition, so keep the weeds down. And also, like garlic, it requires a month or two of cold weather for it to properly form cloves. So realistically, you need to plant it sort of October, November. Now is getting towards the latest that you can get away with planting it for a harvest next year. Now, it's planted in rows that are a foot apart and 6 inches between plants, so it's a bit more widely spaced than normal garlic, but then it's a much larger plant. Each one of these will produce a bulb with 4, 5, 6 other cloves in it. So I've prepared a bed, and you can see there's a couple of little weeds around. Let's get rid of those. This is decent quality soil. It had stuff growing in it last year, so I will, once it gets a bit cooler, top dress it with some chicken manure. But it's absolutely ideal for planting this elephant garlic in. So what I'm going to do is just mark it out on top. So it needs 6 inches between bulbs, so that's about that much spacing. So it's about sort of a hand width, and then a foot between rows. So again, if I zoom out a bit, so about there. So elephant garlic, though, isn't the cheapest of garlics. I mean, you're talking for sort of 15-20 bulbs, 15-20 pounds. It's about £1 a bulb. Nice thing though with garlic is that you can keep some of it back for next year. The garlic I've planted this year on my allotment is garlic that I grew last year. I kept some of the best bulbs, and I've dried them out, divided them up, and I put them in the ground again, and they've grown. I'll just see if I can work out which one of those. I think those are the garlic just over there. Those two are garlics. You can tell because if you look at the onions, the onion leaves are a bit more cylindrical, and those are a bit thinner. But I didn't get those until quite late, so they were planted probably about a month ago. And again, I like to get them in so they've got plenty of time in the cold to produce decent quality roots. So that's very important for me. So we just keep putting the garlic out. I'm just going to mark it, and then what we do, I can't reach anymore without doing some athletics, so I'll just leave it like that for now. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 bulbs in here, and unfortunately that one, you can see that one's no good. That one's unfortunately had it. So I have to put that on the compost pile. So I've got 2, 8, 10, 12, 13 bulbs. So it can't grumble at that. What I am going to do to keep good space, to fit them all into one bed, is I'm going to space them like that. So you can see I'm sort of planting them as a 5. And that way you've got the spacing between the plants, but you've also got the spacing between the rows. So otherwise I would end up planting, like for me, I'd end up planting like 3 bulbs in another bed, which is just not going to be pleasant. It's going to upset me, and obviously then I've got to work out what I'm planting in the other bed. So again, you can plant them in a single row if you want. Just remember 6 inches apart and a foot between the rows. Also, when you plant these, with garlic, a lot of people plant them with the tips just above the ground. These need to be about 1 inch under the ground because they're so much bigger. So you've really got to sort of jam them in there. But I'm very excited to grow these. I've never tried elephant garlic before. It should be harvested sort of next July, possibly June. Again, like normal garlic, once the leaves start to turn yellow and fall over, then it's ready to harvest. So what I will do next year is I'm going to keep several bulbs and I will plant them next autumn. But for now, we'll get these in the ground. So that's really, really exciting. And while we're here, I've done a bit of clearing, and you can see I've cleared that area there. That area there was summer fruiting raspberries. Unfortunately, I've been on this plot now for about 3.5 years, something like that. And yeah, I know it's still a state for that length of time. However, what I found was these summer fruiting raspberries never actually did anything. The fruit they produced were very small, very poor quality, and frankly they just got in the way. So what I've done is I've cut them all right back. There's the remains of the cherry tree there. There were several runners coming up from underground for the cherry tree, which I've hacked off. The cherry tree, again, completely in the way, completely pointless. It was only planted and grown by the last owner purely because he liked to use the sticks as canes. It never ever produced any cherries, and it was really taking up a lot of resources. So the raised beds are going to be extended up that way, but what I want to do is I need to clear that out the way. So I've got to dig up all the roots there at some point. That's probably going to wait a couple of weeks with me hard digging, and I'm not able to do any hard digging at the present moment. But these are my rhubarb crowns, and I just wanted to try and show you these for a second. You can see this is a seriously well established plant. I mean, look at the size of those, right above the ground there. You can very clearly see it over there. They're right up above the ground, and I think because it's been so mild, unfortunately some of them are starting to sprout. So what I'm thinking of doing with these this year is I'm thinking I might divide some of them. Not sure where I'm going to move them to yet, but I might divide some of them and shift some around a little. Again, that kind of depends on what I want to do with stuff. I haven't fully decided where they're going to go yet. I do have some extra space somewhere that I might put some, but you can see they are really, really substantial rhubarb crowns. So again, they've obviously been here, they have been here for a long time, and yeah, they could probably benefit from being divided. Might reinvigorate some of the plants. And like I said, if I moved them to one of the other locations, that would probably work well. Oh, and also I just wanted to show you this builder's bag. Oops. Now, I had a whole load of compost at home from growing my tomatoes. I grew them all in pots last year. What I've done is, rather than throw that good, compost out, put it into the food recycling bin so the council will take it away, I brought it all down here and I put it into one of these builder's bags. And what I'm going to use it for is, I'm just left it in there for now. It's got a load of topsoil in there, and what I will do in the spring is I'm just going to use it, mix in some fertilizer, and just so you can see these beds, particularly like that onion bed. I mean, look how low down the soil level's got in that now. So what I want to do in the spring is I'm going to mix some compost with this soil here, and that will bulk it out a bit and obviously replenish it, because the compost that's in there won't have as much nutrients in, simply because it's been used. But I could dig in some chicken manure pellets as well, whack it in these beds here, and just top them up so that they're higher, got a much higher level for next year. These were mainly based on manure a few years ago, and you can see the soil levels dropped where the manure has completely broken down. So it needs raising up. But if I do it in the spring with a selection of fresh compost and this, then that will raise all these beds up, and they'll be high at a decent level, and I'm not going to have to put manure on there. The problem with the site here is we can only get fresh manure for free, but we can order a well-rotted manure. The only problem I have is I don't actually have anywhere to put the well-rotted manure, because I can't dump it on the roadway and block the roadway over there. I can't dump it on the side of the sheds because that blocks the access, and there's a problem with flooding there. So I can't pull it there, and the tipper truck couldn't get it onto the end of my allotment over there because I've got herb beds there. So basically they can't pull it anyway, so I can't order that unless I'm going to get it dumped right away over there by the gate, and then have to walk back and forth with it all, which frankly just fills me with dread. So I said I've got this here. I've got my compost heaps over there. They could benefit from a turn, which I might do later on, and then I can use all that to just top these beds up, and then hopefully they'll be okay for planting straight in, because all these covered beds, they have fresh manure in that's put in a while ago that will sink as it rots down. So again, what I'd like to do with them is I like to dig in some fresh compost, as it just breaks the soil up, loosens it up a little, and helps it drain a bit better, and then you've got good quality beds to plant in. The higher raised beds, I normally grow carrots in them. I didn't grow carrots in any of them last year. I gave them a rest. So what I'm going to do this year is I will dig a load of sharp sand into these 3 beds again. You dig the sand in, you get really good quality soil that's nice, loose, free draining. You put your carrots in, they grow nice and deep and straight. I've had the best quality carrots ever out of these 3 raised beds. As I go through and put the rest of the raised beds in, I might well do that as well. And I'm also planning on getting rid of all those autumn fruiting raspberries. They're just in a big clump and they really get in the way. They block the path. I have to keep cutting them back because they're blocking access on the path from my neighbours, and they also keep popping up in the neighbour's plot over there, and they just irritate me. So what I want to do is I want to bring them up, I want to get them in the ground, and I want to plant them a bit better. I want to plant them in rows. So that's something else that I'm planning on doing. But I'm going to get on with planting the elephant garlic. The weather's closing in, so there's a good chance of rain, but that means I don't need to water them in, so mustn't grumble. But you can see the cloves are big, and I will update you later in the year how they're growing, and hopefully next June or July I can show you exactly how well they've done. But I'm very, very excited about this, and hopefully you've planted some elephant garlic too. Let me know how you're getting on and any tips you've got for growing garlic successfully. I'd love to hear them, and happy gardening.